snowing. It is snowing, actually. Hey. How's it going? So I've got a little cough. I'm a little hoarse. And so I apologise. How's everyone doing? I saw some questions. Freelancer Max is coming out in 3.4. That's the plan, along with the rest of the Freelancer variants. And that will be December. End of December is the hard date for that release. So, not too much I wanted to talk about today, really, that we haven't previously talked about in like the streams the other day and that sort of stuff. We'll go over the news very briefly and then take questions. If you want to ask a question about me, about Star Citizen, about the community, about PCs, about anything, about love life, about the snow, feel free to ask me, and question in brackets. So let me bring up what I'm looking at, so we can just go over it very briefly. So 3.1 is still with the Evocati at the moment, so it is in its PTU phase, but it's in its Evocati test group phase. So when it goes to Wave 1, that will be subscribers, concierge, and a load of other people that have made contributions to the issue council, played the game a reasonable amount, high on leaderboards, that sort of stuff. So quite a few people will be with the first wave, and that will also mean that we can stream and create content on the patch and make patch notes. So from me, as soon as that goes live, probably do some streams on it, play some of it with the community and with other random streamers and stuff. But also you'll see patch notes, me going through all of them and breaking them down. You'll see what's new. You'll see lots of different gameplay based stuff. We'll do what we can for 3.1, and then obviously when it goes on to live build, we'll do a similar thing, but it will be more firmed patch notes and stuff. We'll talk about exactly what's going on with it, the meta. We'll go into any guides that we need to go into. We'll redo the how to play guides and all that sort of stuff as well. So for me, it's very cyclical. Every 3 months now, I'll be redoing a load of content for like a week, and then I'll go back to normal. Say back to normal, be covering the news, and at least we'll have a lot more to play. So with every patch from now on, and starting with 3.1, I'm hoping that there is some sustained gameplay that we'll be able to get through that will last us for around 2-3 months. Because that would be about perfect. It's around 2 months or 2.5 months. That's great, because we're into the next PTU cycle. Perfect. So at the moment, there is a St. Patrick's Day sale on at the moment. So there are some green ships, people that are interested in the St. Patrick's Day sale, people that are interested in the newsletter I'm reading from that has all the links. There it is, there as well. So they sold some green ships. Now, I love supporting the project and everything. I don't think it has to necessarily be done financially. You can support the project by giving your opinions and feedback, whether they be positive or negative on any particular issue, or neutral, or just playing the game, or whatever. So expensive ships that are just skins, I'm not a massive fan of. That said, I can see why some people are collectors and that want this sort of stuff. But there is a screenshot competition going on at the moment. With that link I sent you, you can basically, the idea is to get a picture of you doing something St. Patrick's Day like in game, and then the winner gets a Constellation Phoenix Emerald, which is this Constellation Phoenix with the St. Patrick's Day Emerald colour scheme. Now, one of the reasons that I suppose I'm not so enthused by, oh, it's a skin special sale discounty thing, is because we're going to be able to paint our ships in game at some point anyway. I just feel like you're going to be able to paint it a very similar green. Like, if they had shamrocks on it, or if it had, like, super gold trim, like, then maybe a little bit more inclined to, like, oh, it's a bit exclusive. I suppose it's an excuse to have a sale, help support the game, why not? And there's some prizes, so first prize is that Emerald Green Phoenix, and then you can get a Hoplite, and you can also get a Gladius Valiant, in fact. There's a load of packages, pretty much every green ship that is available. The Delta, Gladius Valiant, the Hoplite. Is the Harbinger green? I suppose a little bit. It is green. I didn't really realise it was green. Black and red in my head. The Gemini and the Constellation Phoenix, which is sold out now. There's some t-shirts and stuff as well for sale. Makes sense. If you also go to the RSO website and your concierge, you will have the VIP promotion, which allows you to buy a couple of other ship packages. Now, one of them sold out already, which is the one you could use store credit for. But the other one is $1,500 war bond, so it means you have to use cash. And they all come with lifetime insurance, but it's pretty much all those ships we just discussed, including the Constellation Phoenix. Nothing I'd buy, nothing I'd advise people to buy, nothing I'm really super enthusiastic about. Just an excuse to have a sale, and why not? What else have we got? 3.9 hopefully going to PTU, wider PTU next week. CIG are at EDC next week. So they're doing some cool stuff. Presentation on Thursday the 22nd. I'll try and get a breakdown of that if there's anything useful in there. We had the Vulcan QA come out, which talked more about drones. We'll talk about that in a bit if people want to. We also had the ATV, which updated us on a load of ship stuff. Again, we can talk about some of the ship updates. They showed a lot of cool stuff on the... Let's actually put that up on the screen in a second. They showed a lot of cool stuff with the Reclaimer. About 10 minutes worth. I'll chuck it in the background in a second. And then we had a little look at the 600i Sneaky Pecky. And that's pretty cool. I do like the 600i. I don't like it on paper, because I don't think it has that much of a purpose. But it is very pretty. Very cool constellation. I say it doesn't have much of a purpose. It does have a purpose. It was just very expensive. It's definitely one I advise people to get in-game if they like it. With 3.1's roadmap, though, there wasn't actually much change. There's a few things which are now... Well, pretty much everything is in the polish, almost completed phase. Almost all the tasks completed for. The only thing that Aaron wasn't 100% sure that would be in 3.1 was the service beacons. Because obviously there's a lot of polish to do with the service distress beacons to get them working. That and quantum interdiction were the two major things that they were having any form of issue with 3.1. Obviously I can't talk about the contents of 3.1 Evocati, but expect what's on the roadmap. I think that's a reasonable thing to expect. My interview with Aaron went through it all. I'll be chucking... I'll be grabbing all the old interviews and stuff I've done with devs as well, and some important videos and that interview with Aaron. I'll be chucking on my SoundCloud at some point. I'll try and do that later today. I'm redesigning a website at the moment. DC and are doing it for me. But yeah, not much change on this other than stuff getting improved and updated. Oh, for people that are interested, this dev tracker is absolutely fucking fantastic. It shows all the posts that devs do on Spectrum, but also on Reddit and Twitter and all that sort of stuff as well. It's very, very, very useful. On the 23rd and 24th, one of my mods, DJ Huntress, is going to be running a 3.1 summoning party event. So if you're around, jump on the Discord, listen, or come here and have a listen. Love you, Huntress. You're the best. Also, Daymar Rally. Now, Daymar Rally isn't until January. It's a good few months away. But they're starting to get more and more teams involved. They're going to start to ramp up with the project. And so there's going to be lots of testing. There's going to be lots of opportunities to mess around with Cyclones and Ursas and all of the bikes on planets from 3.1 onwards. And they're going to be testing the limitations of the rally. So basically it's a 300-kilometer rally across Daymar. And it should be quite a big player event once it's all sorted. Very much looking forward to it now. I've been chatting to the creators. Looks pretty cool. Join with the team if you dare. There is a big prize pool as well, with more stuff being added every day. Forgotten Heralds is our current featured org. Check them out as well. Look at me shilling them, posting loads of links. They are a very friendly org, lawful, all about running operations in game and training now. Lots and lots of quite cool missions they make up.
The supposedly swappable modules for the 600i.
So the swappable modules still exist and they're happening. Are you talking about, are they going to be for 3.2 when it's supposed to be coming in? I believe it's just the original variant. So you're not going to have the Explorer version yet. That all comes slightly later. I say slightly later. I don't know exactly when they're going to start to be doing the swappable modules for stuff. Variants of ships, they seem to be building out a lot of them this year. But when it comes to module swaps, or like the Retaliator, the 600i, and a load of the other ships, I think we're getting them probably early to mid next year. And so that's my expectation of having that Explorer module. Expect it early to late next year. They might do hard changes for persistence for stuff as well, I suppose. Like, if they get that module done earlier, they might say, well, it's not a swappable module, we'll just change your ship into the 600i Explorer until we have the swappable module, if you see what I mean. So that might be a possible short-term solution to that. Like in 3.4, maybe we have that that possibility. But I don't know when it's coming. I expect just the normal touring variant. Also, you don't need to pay me money to ask questions. I appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. Don't get me wrong. I don't want people to think they have to pay to get a question answered. Benji T, did you ask my question if we'll be able to summon ships in other hangars like in the Idris hangar? Oh, I see what you mean. No, so I talked to some devs about that, and they didn't seem to know what was going to be the short-term solution of the ones I talked about. Well, they basically referred me as like, oh, I'm sure this other dude's probably working on it or whatever, or being worked on by another team. So I don't actually know, but it's a very important question. If we have an Idris in the verse, and in the short term when we get it, how do we get ships into it? Do we have to spawn them into it? And we have that problem now with like the Aquila or whatever, the constellations. We want the ships to both the vehicles to be spawnable in there, really. So we need a solution for that. Now, I believe the shorter term solution for that is that those vehicles will be in there and to start with. And if you log off 3.1 and 3.2 should keep on adding more and more persistence. When you log off with a vehicle in your hold, in your cargo bay, or in the designated vehicle area, those should persist now. To be confirmed for 3.1 if it makes it into the live build, but I'm hoping that it does. More and more persistence. But I don't believe that you just spawn them in. I don't think that's the solution they've got for it. You'll have to put them in there, I suppose, in the short term. You spawn your Idris, you spawn these ships individually, you put the ships in there, then they're in there. There was something else I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what it is. Let me put the thingamajig in the background. Editor. I'm a little bit dozy today, so apologies. You were like, source. Boom. And then I want to open up. So there's a gentleman on Reddit that makes some very good dopamine videos. So basically, he grabs all the clips from ATV and he makes just a clip without people in it. Basically, just the high quality, cool footage stuff in game. Now, I always download these because they show me all the footage in the game, and then I go, fucking great. And then I can clip it if it's not in the best quality already. I can clip it straight out of the ATV, or at least I can see this. Normally there's like 5 to 15 minutes of footage. So good job. I love those dopamine things. Right. So that was from the latest ATV. This is the Reclaimer and the Tumble Cyclone that they showed a lot of. But basically all the other ships are making a reasonable amount of progress. Things I wanted to talk about today, other than the basic news, were... we could talk about 3.1 if people want to talk about 3.1, that's fine. Obviously, I can't answer about the Evocati build, but looks like the wider PT should hopefully be next week at some point, and 3.1 should still be going live at the end of March. It's a hard release date. And when I say hard release date, I don't mean it's going to be hard to make. I mean it's going to be released at the end of March, come hell or high water, as Erin said. But concept ships, there are. All we really know about this year is that they wanted to do a small, medium, and large ship for each of the roles in game. So, and we see with the Vulcan that is an epitome of that. That covers in a small ship a load of those roles already. Rearming, refueling, and repair. Boom. Great stuff. Great support ship. And we know that they want to do the Drake Vulture, which is the small salvage ship, and there's lots of holes to be filled in the verse. Like, I know there's a couple of ships that I had no clue were coming out, and when I talked to some of the devs, very cagey when I went to my studio tour, didn't really want to tell us much. There's a couple of ships, and I was like, oh, I had no idea they're going to do that. I know there's going to be others this year as well, and typically concept sale-wise, they aim for like eight-ish sort of ships a year. Helps fund the project massively, and adds a lot more flavour to the verse. Now, the only thing we've really got to go on, bring this up, is, well, we could potentially have Titan suits. We know that because they've talked about that recently. We've seen the spider minery things in Squadron 42's Vertical Slice, and they talked about them before. And obviously there's alien ships and stuff like that they need to flesh out the verse with concept sales and that sort of stuff. Probably knowing that we're going to get some more vehicles around side, and they're probably going to start to need to do vehicles that cover repair and salvage and a lot of the roles that ships do. But also they did talk about the Corsair, which is a multi-crew Drake Explorer, and they also talked about the Kraken, which is a scout carrier or a civilian carrier. Think of a Bengal, well, maybe smaller than the Bengal, like a larger Idris or an Idris-sized ship, which isn't military orientated. It's just for ships to resupply and dock and fly around. But they also talked about a few other ships during that Drake happy hour, choose the next Drake ship. They talked about a medium data ship. What else did they talk about? Let's bring that up, actually. A Starlifter, medium storage runner, and I'm sure there was another ship they talked about. Maybe there wasn't. So, Starlifter, probably a ship that's going to carry vehicles from ground to space and space to ground. We need that. We need to be able to get the tank onto planets. That makes sense, yeah? We need to get them on planets and off planets when we buy them. We don't want them just to spawn there in the full game, because that's a bit silly. And the same way that someone asked about the spawning ships on the Idris. Yeah, that spawning stuff in other ships and spawning things around, that's a short-term solution to a problem of we need stuff stored in hangars, we need stuff stored on our ships. We have to get those items to those places, and then they persist there. That's important for the game. That's going to be a cornerstone of the game, and that's going to be so major for the economy. They still haven't 100% worked out how they want to do cargo moving from one ship to another. When you go to a station and unload your cargo, how do they want to do that? They're still discussing that. They're still working out whether it should take a huge amount of time to unload, whether you have to pay people to unload it, whether it just spawns in and out. They're still looking at things like that, and they want a nice balance that's fun gameplay-wise. But I just thought it was interesting. Does anyone have any ideas for concept ships that they think that might be sold this year? Or vehicles, because I think we're going to start to get a lot. I'm hoping that we see some atmospheric superiority fighters, that sort of stuff as well. That makes a lot of sense to me. You don't have to have a ship that is 100% can only fly in atmosphere, but you can have a ship that is specifically suited to fly in atmosphere. I think that's a really good idea, in fact. About atmospheric or planetary superiority fighters that can fly in space, and they're probably okay in space. They're just really good. They're on when they're in atmosphere. There's quite a few things, actually. There's quite a few things I think will work with ships. We might see the F8C, the civilian version of the Lightning. I'm looking forward to seeing lots more alien ships. But what do people think? I will take some questiones, because that's the main thing I do. Sorry, I'm a bit dozy today. As I said, I've taken a load of painkillers. I've had migraines and stuff recently. I've got stressed because my headphones are broken, which is why I'm wearing these little tiny shitty ones that I take to LAN. I've already bought a new headset because I literally had done a goal for it a while ago, and was going to buy a new headset, and then I fixed my other ones, which are now dead. So I've bought a... actually show what I bought. Sure people would be interested. Bought these bad boys. People are interested. It's snowing everywhere, isn't it? There's a lot of snow outside. Now my room as well is pretty much finished. I don't think I'm waiting on anything. The base traps are up. I need to put a couple of mouse mats on my table. I'm going to have my table and my floor varnished. Pretty much done. Yeah, I'll take some pictures later today, and people can have a look. off a base trap up there. Ooh. Base traps all around the room. It's really cool now. Appreciated. That is almost entirely paid for. My head is so shiny. My donations. Thank you very much. Oh, so my Sennheisers are broken. Right, let's bring these bad boy questions up. Oh no, what have they done? Okay, that's fine. Yes, my headphones finally broke beyond repair. Yes. Can a person run the dispose of waste missions in a ship without cargo space? Well, technically you could. It's whether or not you'd have to bring the box into the ship still. It's whether or not the box would glitch out. So you will have mixed success. 3.1 is gonna be a lot better for the actual completion of those missions. Any idea whether base Retaliator is still showing up available for upgrade when it hasn't been in quite a while? Because it's still available for upgrade, because some people still have that base Retaliator upgrade from it. Yeah, so there's going to be a new what was the name of the package? There is going to be a new Idris pack, the Dominus, I think it's called, pack, where it has an Idris and loads of other ships as well. Not a massive fan of buying those ship packages. I suppose it works for orgs. If you've got an org or a group of people that want to get together and buy ships together, then great. But that sort of stuff I think is quite expensive and should be bought in-game where possible. But and that's my opinion. I don't want to browbeat people with it. If you've got affluent, you've got spare disposable income, fuck it, why not? I spend a load of money on my rig, and on food and alcohol and stuff. Why does my ship keep getting duplicated in Portlasar claim screen every time my game crashes? It's because it persists on like multiple servers and stuff, and it gets confused. It's a bug. They're aware of it. Hopefully 3.1 will be fixed. I did not pick up one of the green ships myself, nor have I been offered one. I do not really want one. They're a waste of money almost for me. Do you think well, it's not a waste of money. It's not good value for money on my head. Because you're going to be able to paint all those ships in the future anyway and customize them. Do you think the Reclaim will go back up for sale for 3.1? Yeah, so expect, not 100% confirmed or anything, but expect all of the flyable ships to be on sale when 3.1 goes live. Because it makes sense. So the Nox Q, probably the Nox as well, the Aegis Reclaimer, the Terrapin, the Razor, and the Cyclone, probably the Cyclone variants as well. We're also going to have the ability in 3.1, apparently, to melt all of our all of our Voyager Direct UEC purchases. Anyone that's purchased stuff on Voyager Direct store previously, you can have it melted. I'm not sure how limited that time period will be, or if it's going to be you just melt the stuff now, and then all of that stuff that you melt there gets added to your UEC, and your UEC is the cap that you start the game with, Alpha UEC wise, with every patch reset. So it is useful to do that. Yeah, the concept sales this month are underwhelming. I mean, the Vulcan is cool. I do love the Vulcan. I think it's such an important ship. Do you think that's what we just read? Is it a good idea to pick up the Mustang Delta over the Avenger Titan at this point? The Avenger Titan, the Avengers are being made a lot bigger. They're probably going to get some upgrades, hardpoint wise. The issue is for both of them, we don't know. We don't have confirmed stats of exactly how certain things are going to work. The Delta's being reworked, the Titan's being reworked. It's a toss-up how good they're going to be. Obviously, the Delta is targeted at being a military version of that Mustang. Slightly more military, and it's got that rocket pod. But we don't know how it's going to perform. The Titan is one of my favourite ships just because of how cheap it is. And now it's being made bigger and cooler. So I expect more cargo space because it's being made cooler, and a lot more cooler, being made larger. So Titan's probably a good shout. I would have, if they had sold these green skins for loads of ships, so loads of ships for green skins, and the Constellation Phoenix green skin, I would have probably bought a load of green skins. But the ships, not so much. Like these sort of like mini promotions, great idea because it makes them a bit more money. But I would have done loads and loads of little mini items and skins and things because why not? Don't think that would have pissed off the community, although it's microtransaction-y skins, and have them slightly more elaborate than just a paint scheme. Like have them with cool decals on or cool like Celtic imagery or whatever. Did you ask my? Already asked that. Yeah, I hope service beacons, even if it's just will just be the distress signal ones. I hope they come in 3.1 because they're cool. They're super important to the game, and they allow for a lot of testing. Because then we have enforceable player contracts. We have the ability to trade money between players. It's fucking great. I enjoy this game when it works, but it's 180 million raised, not 200. And where are we at? They're still charging the same amount for ships across the board. Well, they're charging however much they're charging. They're still creating concept ships. Expect them probably make 250 million before the game's getting towards a beta stage. It's making good progress now, the game, quite genuinely, I reckon. So, I mean, bear that in mind. Obviously, I've just been on a studio tour for Foundry 42 UK, so I got to see a lot of the progress. It's a good bit beyond 3.1. But I don't know when it's going to be finished. I have no fucking idea. Well, a guesstimate, and I think there's going to be a more towards a beta into about 2.5 years. Most games would be a little bit more close development than this, and they'd be making a little bit more progress, but not too much more typically, because there's a lot of stuff that they want to get tested, and they do get advantages of the way they do their marketing and the way they do the releases of the game. It gets them very good quickly at being a larger studio, definitely, and their marketing helps them fund the game. Makes them a load of money to fund the game. And that's why they got 450 employees now. So I don't think they're not making progress and stuff like that. Go, well, they've made 200 million and they haven't completed a game yet. Well, since 2013 they started the scope of the game as it is now, so like mid 2013, and they didn't have $200 million then. They still don't have $200 million now. They had to build a studio first. Towards the end of 2014 is where the game sort of like started ramping up a lot. And it's been 3.5 years now, and they've made good progress because of that. It's going to be done. It's just taking a while, and it's going to be 2.5 years really before you start to see some form of beta. Board, do you reckon you'll be able to buy insurance outright? Nope. I reckon they've basically discussed that all ships bought with money at the very least will have sort of like a statutory insurance. So you'll be able to spend a load of UEC to get them back, even if you didn't have insurance left on them. So they've all got like a very low level of insurance. I'm hoping that probably gets to all ships. Buy a ship officially, I'm hoping that we get statutory insurance on it. Just very low level, you can buy it back at 90% of its cost, something like that. Because then if you've bought a really rare ship, it's like really hard to get because you ground up reputation. It's not like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? So we've got to pay a load of it back, but you don't have to worry so much. You're like, well, eventually I'll get back there. So ships are all able to carry cyclones as well. Well, let's actually let's go back to my previous question before I skip. That's me being a bit derpy. So yeah, you'll have different levels of insurance, certainly. And you're able to insure your cargo and weapons and stuff separately as well, it looks like. Lots of different insurance types. So kind of that's the current expectation. But not being able to buy insurance outright. Just like a permanent lifetime insurance. But you can do that with money though. But that lifetime insurance that you get with ships, the LTI, isn't going to cover all insurance forever or anything like that. So the hull of the ship will be covered, and you still might have to pay or wait a certain amount of time to get your ship back. It's just going to be a bit better than the standard insurance. I talked to them about the science mechanics rather than the Endeavour specifically. And they will be doing a deeper dive into science and talking more about science in the future. Obviously, that is a mechanic that they want, and it's going to be one of the core mechanics, but it's not as important as some of the others that they're currently working. When can we have base building and land claim? So land claim is coming in 3.4 December, end of this year. Aaron in our interview said it was the thing he was most excited about coming this year, gameplay-wise. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to build on that land. There's going to be missions to do with the land claims. I suspect we will be able to place some structures or spawn structures in, but I'm not 100% sure. Because there's definitely going to be mining and people stealing your land claim stuff by mining on there and that sort of stuff. But I'm expecting it to be a bit more than that. I asked this question for the tour, but did you get an indication of what their plans are for persistent-wise with the land claims? Will players be able to pick named servers to use their land claims after logouts, or are the claims just going to be poof out of existence? Passio, it's a good question. I believe that land claims are going to be persistent, but that's a good point. If it depends on how server meshing works, doesn't it? And then if you get placed into that server with that person's stuff, so I don't actually 100% know. I would expect it to be persistent in general. The only issue that you've got is if more than 1,000 people want to go to that area of land at the same time, because then there would need to be 2 servers for it. You see what I mean? But it should just exist there. But we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. I will ask that question. Sorry that I didn't ask it. I know that they are improving persistence all the time, and the best possible outcome for that would be to have it there permanently. So that's what they're going to be aiming for. But obviously they might not be able to do that. But that's an interesting one because of so much. We have to wait and see. But as I said, I will ask it. So I'm just trying to find the background video to put on. This address doesn't come. No, just bear with me. I do apologize. Check that one on. Or did you see 3.1 being satisfying enough to bring back a lot of the player base? It's going to improve significantly Star Marine and Arena Commander, make that a lot more playable and fun, because IFCS and ESP should be fixed. There's a lot of balance going on there. And obviously the optimization network stuff being a lot better will help. There's not going to be huge amounts of gameplay loops beyond what we already have. They're just going to be a lot more playable. Obviously, the distress beacons does add a lot more gameplay, but there's not enough to buy yet. So 3.1 is going to be a big improvement, and they're going to bring back a good amount of player base. But really, we're waiting for 3.3 for me to have to sit down and play this with people that aren't necessarily fans of the project at the moment. Like people that are like, oh, what stars is this? I wait until 3.3 to show them. Is now a good time to buy Start Pack if I will not play now, but wait for release, or can better deals be available later? I mean, there potentially could be better deals available later, like towards Christmas time. Sometimes they have cheaper packs. Up to you. I don't know the future of if stuff's going to be cheaper or not. They probably haven't spent that much on actors in Squadron 42. A reasonable amount. Not huge. They haven't like been forced to use Tom Cruise for a movie because they're grinding Tom Cruise franchises or anything. You see what I mean? So they've chosen who they got to work with. Will I wear the schoolgirl outfit to BoredGamer? That was not the plan. So I am dressing up as a Japanese schoolgirl on stream and in PUBG and at I62 and Somnia Gaming Festival just for one day. The gaming festival though, because it's going to be cold. Thank you, Huntress, for making that possible as well. When will I pay off to put my hard-earned UEC into buying ships? So you're about to use Alpha UEC in 3.2, so in June, to purchase ships and weapons with new weapon and buying kiosks. So there's going to be a lot more stuff to buy. Then they're doing a big economy pass as well. At least that's the plan. It's 3.2. The ship spawning with outdoors, seats and modules and stuff has been an issue. It's to do with their portal tech and them being individual items and that sort of stuff in the room system. So hopefully fully fixed in 3.1. Yeah, I didn't really like the Green Phoenix myself. I thought it was a bit ugly as well. So the Avenger Titan is my favourite value ship. Like it's great value for what it is. It's going to be reasonably good at combat, reasonably good at transport, reasonably good multi-role. Is the Harbinger worth it? Don't know. We don't know about some of the ships because we don't have them in our hands. We can't play them. And even if we did, they'd be rebalanced and stuff as well. So just bear that in mind. Its intention is to be that Vanguard, so a heavy fighter, long-range fighter with a load of missile, high DPS. Not as an update on the development as I normally am. I was wondering if there's any word on the Mustang rework. No more than the roadmap. So on the roadmap, Peru, it's all coming for 3.2, and that's all the variants as well. I suspect the next ship shape will be looking at the Mustang. Concept: a medium drop ship along the lines of a Pelican, to have the capability to carry a Cyclone and 6 others in the troop bay. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that I was hoping the Redeemer would be. It looks like they're going down the gunship route, the Redeemer now. But that could change. Yeah, I'd like a medium drop ship. Carry a car or a medium small APC and troops, and its pure thing is to fight towards things, push through, break through, drop off troops, get out, and then pick them up if it's too hot or whatever. Are they adding more missions to 3.1? Yes, so there's going to be, expect more additions to the missions and a few extra missions as well, and lots of fixing current content. An experience or advice buying ships on eBay or the grey market? Just make sure you buy from as trusted buyers as possible. Ask questions on there if you're not entirely sure. There is a risk of buying on eBay or the grey market. Just be sensible, try and cover yourselves in every way you can, and use people that are recommended to you by word of mouth if possible. So you go, oh, is this guy legit? Great, he's got 300 previous sales, probably looks legit. And then photograph and save any information you can. Make sure you have a literal paper trail of every interaction you have with that person to make sure if for some reason they do scam you, you can just give all of the information to PayPal and to CIG. But obviously, CIG are their terms of service and their end user license agreement basically says they are not responsible if you do anything like that. They're not responsible for giving your money back or anything. So it's unregulated. What is your best guess for when the Carrack will hit the pipeline? I think it's probably already being worked on to a reasonable extent. Obviously, there's going to be big pauses in the pipeline where they move assets around and get certain people to work on certain tasks. However, I'd still think that it's not beyond the realms of possibility that we'd have the Carrack this year. But hopefully CIG are watching and going, no, we're not doing it this year. What are you talking about, you man? I still think it's a possibility. Like, you know, it's one of those ships that I think is being worked on, or being worked on a bit more than we might think. And When do you get the ability to paint our ships? We don't know. Don't know. Again, hopefully this year, and that customization, those skins, that it makes sense that they do them this year. If they can get the setup done. Also makes sense for the CIG to start selling skins for ships, like more elaborate skins. So to paint the ships yourself, great. Simple color schemes, all that sort of jazz. CIG, you want to sell me some cool, elaborate, cool skins that go, fuck yeah, this is a cool skin. I'll pay $5 for them, I'll pay $10 for them, whatever. Will this game support SLI Crossfire? Not sure, but it's going to integrate Vulkan and DirectX 12. I think that's going to do the alternative frame rendering stuff. Split frame rendering. And that means you won't need an SLI or Crossfire. You can just use multiple cards. Do the bikes work? They just drag along the ground for me. So there are ways in 3.0.1 you can sort of bodge them to work. And if you fly them enough, it will be like, oh, I can sort of fly it-ish. And at 3.1, expect them to be working a lot better. Does the Cyclone fit in the Cutlass Black? I have not tried. I don't think it would. I think it would be too high. Thank you very much. Yeah, I really enjoyed that interview with Aaron. I really enjoyed that day. It was good. A solid day. Will FPS loadout stay 1 to 2 primary weapons plus 1 secondary? Or will it be more like weight limit based on armor? It will be weight and hard point limited by your armor. So the different armor you wear, the different attachment points you have based on that will then allow you to put other attachment points on. So you could go, oh, I've got heavy armor on, that allows me to put these 3 hard points on. One of them allows me to have a stock that has 2 guns, 2 small guns on, or I can have instead a large gun on that stock. Or whatever. So yeah, it's going to be based on the armor and the equipment and stuff like that. So you will be able to customize your loadout quite a lot. So yes, single core performance at the moment and single GPU performance is what started us in Braves. It will start to scale a lot more to multiple CPU cores and threads in the future. So the 600i for 3.2, I believe, is the standard version. Let me just double check that. Building and implementing and balancing Origin's new luxury 600i as the flight-ready ship in-game. I believe that's just the standard version. Pretty sure. So if you've got an Explorer version, you'll get that standard version until then. Have you looked at Virgin Media for your ISP throttling needs? So I use Virgin. I've got their best service for my standard connection. You saying that for my mobile data needs, Virgin will do something. So what I'm looking for is a mobile data service that is truly unlimited. Like I don't want it to be throttled because I want to be able to stream. I want to be able to do stuff on the go. I want to use it as a backup line in case my internet goes down for a day, and I want the rest of the BoredGamer guys to be able to use it as and when they need it. So if we go for a private LAN, we can go anywhere to any Airbnb, just set up there for a week, play computer games and do content and stream. And also, like when I go to I-62 and stuff, I want to be able to go and stream just as I'm walking around. Boop, 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 boop. Me, I'm not going to have grandchildren. I don't want kids. Jesus, I think I do anyway. Or maybe. If I find a partner, it would have to be one hell of a woman, because I am very difficult. I'm very difficult, and I'm not super pro relationship myself. Each person their own thing, but I'm quite happy being single. I quite enjoy it. I'm very work driven. I'm very motivated to do my own thing, and I get very stressed out very easily, surprisingly. Any update on Crytek lawsuit since the joint report on Discovery? I think that was... Oh yeah, so After the joint report on discovery, CIG did put in for a protection order, basically just saying, look, let's wait until the motion to dismiss is passed, see what still remains, if anything, from Crytek's lawsuit, and then work out what information they should have access to, and then, where necessary, if they want financial data and data on the project, that is protected from public view, because we don't necessarily want it out there. It's fair enough. They want to protect a protective order, protection order, whatever they're called in America. That's the last I've heard of it. I think also the date the judge is going to make a comment on the motion to dismiss has been pushed back a week, something like that as well. Is that school guy outfit for the pub quiz? We hadn't 100% planned to go to the pub quiz. Like, some of the... I don't think Kit and Zen are particularly into the pub quiz. Zen isn't either, because there's... One of the pub quizzes we went to, people were throwing cups around a lot. Just fucking everywhere. And we were like, I'm gonna fucking punch someone. Fucking cups hits me. And it hit a couple of us, and we got quite angry. We're not people to stand to the side, get very grumpy vocally and go, "What the fuck are you doing?" So we might go to the pub because some of us might. We might try and tag along with another group that's going like, "Oh hi, BoredGamer, we love you. Oh thanks very much. Go to the pub quiz. I'd love to come." That's sort of shit we do. So maybe, but no, the school guy outfit wasn't planned for the pub quiz in general. It was just one day at iSeries. Oh, we might do it on the cosplay day. There's a day that there's a cosplay competition. DC were thinking maybe we don't. You think there'll be a poor balance of player types? I think there'll be lots of different player types. I think one of the keys to a great game is getting that gameplay that interacts with all those different player types. And we see how that's going to work, CIG, and how they balance it. And we need to be part of that process. Why does it seem like CIG are focusing only on a few ship manufacturers? It's just at the moment, so that you'll see optimized pipelines for certain things. So like we saw last year, a load of Drake ships and that sort of stuff come online. It's just because their pipelines are tweaked for certain things, you'll see a push for certain ships. No, there's not really much information at all about any form of crafting mechanics at all. So a little bit with the science mechanics, they've talked about overclocking items and weapons. And they've also talked about the ability to potentially make drugs and things. I want crafting in the game. I'm not sure to what extent I'd want it. I do want crafting, and I do want the ability to make munitions and supplies. That's probably quite an important part. Some mid-level manufacturing. But there's not really much information on that yet. The Vulcan is essentially a tier 1 career ship, yet on the RSI site it's listed as a medium refuel. Given it's classified as a medium, do you think we can expect a smaller one? Oh, I thought it was small. If it's classified as medium, then potentially we could have a repair, rearm, and refuel smaller ship. Like a really small ship, potentially, maybe. So I would refer to it as a small ship. Are gun racks unavailable at the moment? No. And they think they work in some of the ships. I've certainly had them work. I think I've had them working in non-Evocati builds, some of the ships previously. You talk about a bit about modular questing. Isn't anywhere on the timeline. I'm getting tired of fetch quests. Well, there's just more and more of the missions will be more and more modular. I think that's what the quantum interdiction stuff was supposed to test, part of that modularity. Expect more for 3.1 and a lot more for 3.2. And it's not on the schedule report in the same way. Also, the Mars Eckhart and Ruto missions should be getting a bit more meaty. Are there any call updates regarding questing in 3.1, or can you speak about modular questing? When are players' distress calls coming? That should be coming in 3.1. So wider PTU potentially next week, live at the end of March. The idea of snub fighters will be able to detach and dock in 3.1. I think they need to finish some more docking mechanics. Like they've been faffing around with docking mechanics because they want larger ships to be able to dock with space stations as well. It's all part of the multiple physics grid stuff and them becoming part of the parent ship. So I'm not sure if it's going in 3.1. Much more expected for 3.2, I think. Thank you very much, Pickle Rick. I appreciate your donation and I appreciate your love of my videos. Do you think with refueling coming, with that solo coming up, that a solo player will be able to refuel their own ship without other players? E.g., flat my Starfarer so I can have free fuel for my Vulcan runs. Yeah, you'll be able to transfer fuel from your Starfarer to your Vulcan. Yeah. And go and farm it in your Vulcan. Farm it in your Starfarer, bring it back and transfer it to your Vulcan. You'll be able to do that. Probably not in the very short term, but with the when the Vulcan's in the game, you probably will be able to actually by the time, because they'll have the refueling mechanics a bit more refined by then. Will pirates have different difficulties and or sell better ship hardware? We don't really know. Well, we suppose we do. There's going to be different types of pirates. There's the Nine Tails and there's the OMC and there's going to be lots of different ones that are focused towards lots of different areas. Yeah, I suspect there will be ones with significantly better ships or ship hardware. Yeah, that will happen. The big things, mechanics, physics, are usually focused on. Are there any little things such as a note or button that simply makes you smile in Star Citizen? I mean, just the general fidelity and the game looks beautiful, which makes everyone feel a bit happier and better, even with the bugs. All of it coming together is going to be the thing that makes me happy. I mean, I think I'm obviously a massive Star Citizen fan. I genuinely think this is going to be the game that might be one of the best games in my entire lifetime. Obviously, there's going to be lots of great stuff beyond this in the future. This is a coming together of a load of mechanics that I've wanted for a long time, and the first-person gameplay. It's just such a massive universe, and it's going to be so economy-based and combat-based, and it's just great. So, me, it just scratches a lot of itches, but there's no one small or large thing. All of it. We're logging out and in on your ships, finding workers intended 3.1. It is supposed to. They have been putting some time into that. Out for people dressed as penguins, that will be us. Trig93, come on my Discord and we'll make sure we have a drink, although I'll just find some penguins there as well. How relevant would you say the Super Hornet will be in the complete game? And what would you suggest otherwise or alongside it? So it's a short range ship. It's a short range fighter. It's a very good brawler fighter. It can take a load of damage, it can deal out a load of damage, but it's not super long range. It needs either a parent ship or to be within a single system. You know what I mean? So that's its kind of downside. Great for short range escorts. Great for escorting where it can land and repairing with fuel. As we're getting Arc Corp, do you think we will see a multi-passenger taxi or bus for Planetside? Yeah, we will see civilian transport ships. We'll also see some of the ships that we currently have in game used, like the Argo potentially. But yeah, you'll probably see more civilian-y type transport to ships. And it's a Star Alliance, for example, potentially as well. Why isn't the star system the same as what we can see in the room? Because fun trumps realism. They talked about that. When will snub fighters be able to detach and dock? I don't actually know. Hoping for 3.1, but more likely 3.2. Yes, I'm very excited about the next Letters from Vega. So, Letters from Vega is a fan-made machinima, which I am a little bit part of. I did some voice. I'm the DJ on the radio. It's really fucking cool though. The mouths are a bit odd at the moment. Expect them to probably get better in the next one. But the actual shooting and the rendering and a lot of the other stuff is fucking superb. The voice acting is amazeballs. I know mining's on the roadmap this year, but do you believe it will come into the PU this year? Yeah. It's going to be coming in 3.2. being worked on. Being worked on a lot. I mean, it could slip, I suppose. I think a load of those major mechanics are definitely coming in 3.2. June is going to be a big time for gameplay. 3.3, however, in September is going to be object containers, a lot more streaming and a lot more iteration on those mechanics, which is when I think that's when I'm going to try and get other people to play the game. I might not necessarily be interested in Star Citizen as it is at the moment. On the Connie, for example, can only one type of snub fit, and if so, with the docking collar. No, so it will just be those. At the moment, it will just be the P72 and P52s. When do you think we'll see racetracks in the PU? So they are working on some new mission givers, which we will see at some point in the near future. Hopefully, almost certainly this year. One of them is like the Grim Hex racetrack person, and there'll be planet-side racetracks and stuff. So I don't actually know when that's coming. Between now and Christmas, that's a really bullshit answer. 3.3, most likely September. You're often asked what feature you would add if you had the option. However, what feature that CIG has added during some of the feature creep would most like to have removed. Wish they hadn't. Because I see the game as like this big hole now. Not an asshole. No, it's this big. It's hard to say if I would want anything removed. I'm not sure if I could go through and actually remove anything. Like, and I'm not able to. If I was able to, I can't. Potentially the original hangers, I wouldn't have done them because they want to have physicalized hangers. I don't know. There's nothing I can think of I could remove now because Star Citizen relies on everything, literally all its components, doesn't it? Like they're all reliant on each other so much. Do you think we'll be able to blast music in our ship, have a PA for making announcements on larger ships? Yes, I think we're going to be able to talk with the voice comms across PA systems. I think it's going to be. I don't think you're going to be able to run music from in-game. I think you'll probably be able to pump it through your voice comms. It was an interesting question, Passio. Like, is there anything I'd remove? And I was like, well, no. Inconsistent release dates and times. Like, what do you think about the invention of beam weapons, which will come at some point now? I actually really like beam weapons. So I'm glad they're actually doing them. And how will it fit in between the current energy and projectile weapons usability? I don't know. They'll obviously have to be balanced. They'll probably be really accurate, but slightly less damage, something like that, or take a fuck ton of energy, or whatever. I'm interested to see how they're going to do them. And they probably won't be forever beams. They will have a range. I'd have them dealing good damage to shields, but entirely stopped by a shield. I'd have them overheat quickly. I'd have them take a load of power. Have them accurate, but not necessarily deal a ton of damage. Will we see a purpose for the forehook on the fore underneath? Oh, on the underneath under the cutlass black. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to be able to see us hauling containers and pallets and vehicles with them. That would be cool. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to or not. Simple as that. There's been a lot of. I don't really know anything. I'm sorry. I'm a bit dozy today. I'm gonna have a cup of tea and some lunch quick in a minute, and I think I'm gonna play some PUBG with DC and the others. Maybe some Vermintide 2 later. That sort of stuff. I haven't been able to play much of the Eva Carty build, but I will probably get a little bit more onto tonight and tomorrow. Either kind of melts my brain because you're supposed to kind of actively look for bugs and specific things they want you to test and that sort of stuff. I'm looking forward to 3.2. I'm looking forward to being able to buy ships in game without PVC. I'm looking forward to being able to buy weapons and other items all in game without PVC. That's really important for gameplay loops. Like optimization and all the stuff they're bringing in 3.1 is great and important. But it's just getting the current gameplay there fixed and attractive. Which is still fun. You're going to have lots more players playing Star Marine again and Arena Commander again because it will be fun and competitive. But for the persistent universe, there's still a lack of gameplay loops, which they need by hooking people into, you have to make money to get these ships, you have to do this to do this. Thank you very much, Hodel Stretch, for the cheer. Woo, woo, woo. Appreciated. Love your face. For me, it just needs more gameplay loops. And obviously, well, distress beacons might give us a load more. We need to wait and see. The 3.2 has got so much content and so many of the actual mechanics of the game starting to come in with mining and salvage and more distress beacons. Steph Hess, thank you very much for the sub. Woo! Appreciate it. The plan is for them to have ships being purchasable in game without VBC in 3.2. That might change, that might slip. That's the plan. It's also the plan to have the new consoles, the kiosks, they have to buy ships and items, new weapons in there as well. Again, that stuff could slip. It's something I wanted in 3.0, in 3.1. It slips from 3.2, I'll be pissed. But it's one of the annoying things about some of the stuff is that I could only be pissed. I'll be like, get in! Like, it's stuff that we obviously know we need. Salvage won't be in 3.1, will it? No. You'll be looting. You'll be able to go around and find items. But you're not going to have the salvage mechanics. They're coming in 3.2 in June. Any other questions, quick, about anything? About Stars, about the channel, about me? Otherwise, I'm going to go and host someone. And then have a quick break. And then we'll be back on in a bit with some hug or some mututu. See, it's actually online. So they did away with the hangar ready phase because it was irrelevant to the, well, it was probably hampering the schedule for the ship pipeline. So when a ship is getting hangar ready now, there's not that much left to do to make it fully flight ready. So they just went, well, let's skip that. No point doing an extra process. Let's go straight on to flight ready. It's just more efficient for their pipeline, so they actually get the ship flyable. Do you think a planetary anti-capital ship weapon could be put into the game? Yes. I think we might see turrets or defense systems which are anti-capital ship, or satellites that are anti-capital ship that make you have to bring different ships or whatever, or attack the planet in a different way, potentially. Oh. Anyone streaming Star Citizen at the moment? Buckerton streaming. And DC's watching me. I can see you sneaking around, DC. See you snacking. Buckerton. Buckerton's on RimWorld, so we'll go and host him probably in a second. We can help him because he is one of the original BoredGamer people that when I started BoredGamer like 4 years ago now. We wanted to do content together, but he moved to France and stuff. And now he's getting back into streaming, so I've invited him back to the team. He's one of my good friends. So I'm going to go and host him in a second. I love him. Make sure no one obvious is... We're good. Right. will you be able to see capital ships from a planet service? Yes. The have an Aurora LE. Yes, do you mean? Or LX? And another ship, our Squadron 42, not able to run Star Citizen, no DirectX 12, but when I should... I'm so confused by that question, I'm so sorry. What kind of ship modules will there be? Various different types for different ships. You're going to have, for the Caterpillar, for example, you've only got cargo modules at the moment. You're going to be able to have ones that are like chop shop, salvage modules, mining modules, ones for living and habitation. For the Endeavour is all about modules. You can have farming modules, literally biodomes. You can have telescopes that look into space. You can have hospital modules that allow people to be healed and respawn there. You're going to have hangar modules that allow ships to be pulled in and to be stored. Science ones that crunch data and numbers, ones that literally do research. There's loads and loads of modules for different ships. There is a vast amount. In fact, it's one of the cornerstones of Star Citizen is that modular ship customization, which isn't really in yet. Something we've been waiting for a while. We might see a space elevator for some planets, maybe. No, actually, I quite like Subnautica. They also, the guys that made NS2, which is one of my favourite games of all time as well, and Natural Selection 2. I still play it quite a lot. Great competitive game. Although I only really play in public matches, which are less competitive. Slightly more salt-inducing, because you're like, why aren't you going here with me? Because I need work as a team. Not playing Star Citizen now, I can't. I don't want to miss out how to be more active. Check out 3.1 when it comes out. Next week, probably be on to a wider PTU, but end of March. Check it out and see if it's got the gameplay that you're interested in. It's going to be coming in sprints, Star Citizen, in the short to medium term. So it's an alpha. It's not going to be for everyone. It's not a sit down and play game. It's not got these huge gameplay hooks that are going to be like, oh yeah, I'm really enjoying it, like what you would have with WoW, the progression and all that sort of stuff. It's not going to be that yet. It's not going to be like that until potentially a beta and potentially a release, I suppose. So there's a good while yet. If you want to be part of the project, you want to give your feedback on different aspects of it as they progress, then get involved with every major patch release. How will selling information be worth it if you can get it for free by using the interwebs? Well, it's going to be dynamic, that information, so there's going to be asteroid fields and minerals and stuff that appear in certain areas. No one's going to know about them until someone discovers them. And yeah, you could sell that information to someone who could then put it on the internet. You could put it on the internet. But there's going to be a limited amount of resources in certain areas, so someone advertises places on the internet, they're going to get raided by people very regularly and nommed up by strip miners and stuff quickly. I'm confused about ArcCorp in 3.4. Does it mean it will be in 3.4? Oh, it will be in 3.4. That's the plan. The planets and the hero landing zones in 3.4. I'd really like to see some heavy artillery. Yep, we probably will see some heavy artillery ground vehicles, and I suppose ship weapons as well. But I want to see some more ground stuff, some anti-ship ground weaponry. We could potentially see Dyson Sphere. Right. Love you guys. I'm gonna go host Bug. Give him some love. I love you. Thank you very much for all the donations, for all the support, all the subs, all the love. If you've got questions for me, please come to my Discord. You can add me on Discord. You can talk to me on Discord. You can post me messages, feedback, suggestions. If you want to be part of the org spotlight, there's a thread in my Discord as well. It's discord.gg/BoredGamer. We've got merch and stuff as well. If you want a beautiful BoredGamer t-shirt, here, boom. You'd be like, oh my god, they've got his beautiful bored face on me. Have you some infos about the flight model of the Nox and Dragonfly in 3.1? Have CIG fixed it? The plan is to have it better. I can't talk about the actual content of the current Eva Carty. It's not stuff that's not announced, but they were planning to address it for 3.1. Whether or not it makes it fully into a live build, I don't know. Let me discord.gg/gamer. But thank you very much, guys. I love your faces. We're gonna go host Buggerton, and I will see you in the verse. Woo, woo. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh. I'll be back in a bit with some more games. Mwah.